Hey, welcome to Crypto Bay on a Tuesday. Welcome everybody for coming here tonight. I hope you're having a good time. We got some new faces. We got some old faces. Great to see everybody here tonight. Pretty good crowd. And no wonder, because we're going to talk about 10 ways to make money with crypto and blockchain. Right, Dennis?
Yeah, we're getting more and more people. So
yeah, more and more people. And that's what we want to do, especially when the price just keeps going down and down. We got to figure out how to make money with this stuff.
the only true believers are here.
Yeah, the true believers. I know Matt, he feels better having the crypto in his wallet on his phone than having the cash in his pocket. So let's begin, Dennis.
Yeah, so what are the 10 ways to make crypto? I was thinking about, I read a lot of articles and watch a lot of videos. Most of the time people talk about something hypothetical, theoretical of how to increase the throughput or the scalability of the blockchain and security and stuff, but in reality no one uses it like by no one I mean very few cases that are real life or business applicable, and that makes sense.
So although all the hype about blockchain, cryptocurrencies, even people very involved in the space probably don't use it that much.
This is what I found out, yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to see if we can change that.
So yeah, let's just go through all the ways you can.
I've got my pen and paper poised.
So the first one is hodling, which is not really popular word these days.
That worked last year.
That was last year.
Yeah.
The idea is very simple. You just buy crypto. Doesn't matter how much fees you pay. Preferably anonymously. It's over the counter or at the ATM, and you hold it.
Yeah.
Forever. And you just hope that it will grow in price, which actually makes sense. So, like but only if you talk about Bitcoin. There are a lot of arguments if Bitcoin will be the only crypto for money, or there will be more than one coin. But just in case, keep Bitcoin. You'll be safe. And then why is that? Have you heard of the book? It's called The Bitcoin Standard.
No.
By Saifeddin Ammous. That's
No.
Austrian economist from Lebanon.
It's called the Bitcoin Standard?
Bitcoin Standard. It's just like gold standard.
Okay.
The same idea. So the money should be based on Bitcoin standard.
So he is an economist?
Yeah. Austrian. There are two different schools of
he's with the
economics.
Austrian school.
Yeah.
That's the post-Keynesian school.
I'm not sure if it's post or pre. I think.
Huh?
Yeah. It was before
Well, that's
Keynesian.
real pre.
Yeah.
Libertarians.
Yeah, so I would like to read a quote from his
I would
book,
love to
why
hear it. Yeah.
the Bitcoin is the best money. So I like to call this the easy money trap. Anything used as a store of value will have its supply increased, and anything whose supply can be easily increased will destroy the wealth of those who used it as a store of value. Referring to the fiat currencies, US dollar.
Right.
And another quote, for something to assume a monetary role, it has to be costly to produce. Otherwise, the temptation to make money on the cheap will destroy the wealth of the savers and destroy the incentives anyone has to save in this medium. So now Bitcoin is very difficult to produce.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you cannot produce more than it's programmed in the algorithm.
Well, it's built-in scarcity.
Yeah. So this is his idea of the hard money. The hard money is the money that's very difficult to produce.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's even harder than gold to produce, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, that's the idea. You just convert your easy money into hard money, and you keep it this way in your wallet. Even if your wallet burns, you can still recover it with the seed phrase. So that's important. And during the bear market, maybe a better strategy how to make money is trading. Because for traders, it doesn't matter where the market goes. What's important that the market moves somewhere so that you can buy and sell. However, well, we've talked a few times about trading here, and the day trading may take a lot of time. You basically just sit in front of your computer, looking at the price charts and analyzing everything. If you don't want to do that, there are a couple of tricks for automation. There's this Toronto-based company. It's called 3 Commas.
3 commas?
3commas.io.
Okay.
Those guys have the dashboard where you can set up your bots, connect to the exchanges, and they will be doing trades based on some algorithms for you.
So they have their own AI that's doing the trading? You don't have to worry about it?
Well, you have to worry about it, so you need to select the bot, which is like shorting bot or the short bot or long bot, so you need to make some decisions.
Okay.
However, when you set up the rules, the bot will be doing all the trades for you.
Right.
So there's no emotions involved. You just set it up and forget.
You'd think. In fact, I know Ralph's not here tonight, but it seems hard to believe that you just say, I want to make as much money as possible, and the AI just does that for you. Right?
I don't know if that exists.
Well, apparently, Ralph says it does.
But only in his magical company.
Well, we had the people from Orenda as well, and they figured out a way to.
Yeah, that's another way of getting some signals for trading. So what they do, they collect sentiment of what people actually say in real time about Bitcoin, and what they feel, and it's 200,000 data points daily. So and basically there is a huge correlation between what people feel, the sentiment, and the price of cryptocurrencies, because there are no fundamentals in the traditional sense. There's no cash flow. There are no assets behind.
It's pure sentiment.
Pure sentiment, more or less. Oh, there are a few people call the fundamentals, just like the size of the network, the number of transactions, and so forth.
Well, I think fundamentals are starting to emerge as well.
But yeah, so sentiment is a huge thing in crypto. So yeah, you can basically automate it with 3 commas. So there are other dashboards, and get some intel from Orenda's AI. Okay, the next thing that's possible, if you don't like trading, you can lend your crypto.
We talked about that last week, right? Or is that borrowing?
That's borrowing.
Yeah. So how do you lend?
There are a couple of ways. So when people trade, if you want to short your position, you need to borrow Bitcoin from someone and sell it. Then you buy it when it's cheap and you return the Bitcoin. So, for example, some platforms like Bitfinex is an exchange, Poloniex, and a few others, they have this option. You keep your Bitcoin there, and you can lend it to the other users on the platform. I checked the rates. And right now on Bitfinex, the annual yield for Bitcoin is about 11%, like today. So, but this is a market, so it changes from day to day, and usually you lend it for a very short period of time. It's minutes, maybe hours.
Are there risks?
The risks are it's a centralized exchange. You keep your crypto on an exchange. It can shut down. Anything can happen. It can get hacked. So you get all the risks of keeping your crypto and not keeping the private keys.
Okay.
So if anything happens to the exchange, your money is gone. There is a decentralized option for that. Last week I found the company is called Compound.finance. It's a decentralized version, but on Ethereum, and you can only lend Ethereum-based tokens at the moment. You can do this with Basic Attention Token, Augur, Ether, and 0x, and also DAI. DAI is a stable coin. And also that's the market for interest, like for lending, so that the interest rate changes basically every minute. Right now, like a couple of hours ago when I checked it, you can lend DAI, which is a stable coin, at 8.7% of annual. Last week when I checked, it was close to 18%. So it really depends on supply and demand. If you try to lend Ether, it's 0.07% annual, so it's pretty low. All the other tokens are quite low at the moment, less than 1%. And yeah, there are a bunch of platforms where they are centralized, where you can lend your crypto. There's Salt, there's Celsius, BlockFi, and to name a few.
And you can lend.
You can lend your crypto. However, it's a centralized platform, so you have to trust the guys that run the business. The next option, probably everyone knows, is mining. Everyone heard of that. You don't like mining because it consumes a lot of electricity.
Well, until free energy comes out.
So basically, miners provide the security for the network. Their computing power, when they're trying to solve certain cryptographical problems, they secure the blocks this way.
It's the whole infrastructure, really, for the network.
Yes. So for the mining, you will need the ASICs, so-called the special mining equipment. ASIC stands for application-specific, I guess, internal circuit or something.
Yeah.
So those machines are designed only to solve one computational problem. You can't really use them for anything else. And they do it much faster and much more efficient than the regular computers. So on more or less each cryptocurrency has their own algorithm, like hashing algorithms, and you need a specific ASIC for each cryptocurrency. Some of them they use the same, so you can switch from one crypto to another.
Yeah, you can go from Zcash to Bitcoin.
Zcash, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure about that.
Zcash, Bitcoin, like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV,
Right.
whatever. All the Bitcoins that are out there, you can basically mine with the same ASICs. Ethereum is still on the GPU, like graphic cards, because it uses a different cryptography. And Monero uses even slower cryptography, so you need CPU for some of the calculations. And Monero forks quite often, changes the algorithm. So every time someone comes up with an ASIC for Monero, they just fork Monero and make it ASIC resistant.
Why do they want to make it ASIC resistant? Do they want to keep the mining pool
I think
broad
the
as
decentralization or something.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
So yeah, if you want to mine, I don't think that's a profitable business at the moment, since the price for crypto really went down, unless you're getting free electricity from somewhere, which may be possible. If you think like you have a hydroelectric station, the water's running and no one's buying electricity, so that's basically free.
Pay somebody off to tap in.
Yeah. Or
That's how
yeah.
drug dealers do it.
Well, that's what the Quebec government's doing too.
And or renewables. So the same thing. You have solar panels; they generate power, and if you don't consume it, then it's just gone.
Well, we know the free energy is out there too. So if you got a free energy device, you can hook that up
And still be profitable with
Yeah.
mining Bitcoin. Yeah, by the way, so this argument that Bitcoin consumes lots of electricity and adds up a lot to global warming. So Bitcoin and mining is a free market. So miners will go to places where electricity is very cheap. And electricity is cheap because it's cheap to produce at some places and very difficult to transport to the places where it's consumed.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for example, in Quebec, so there's a hydropower station, but there's no lines to major cities that can consume it. So in this case, Bitcoin can be like a battery. So you just consume electricity, you collect money, and then you buy electricity in another place. Same thing with renewables, the renewable energy. You set up a solar farm somewhere in a remote place, and instead of building lines to the cities, you can just mine Bitcoin.
Or like Iceland, they've got geothermal. Anywhere. It makes sense for somebody like the Quebec government or even any hydro utility to do it in the off-peak times because they have to have that generating capacity there.
So, and mining Bitcoin can help you pay back for your investments in renewables.
Absolutely.
So, but also you need to consider that it's very loud. It produces lots of heat, which is good for wintertime in Canada. But in summertime, you need to cool it down, which consumes even more. And more or less mining right now is the professional operation. So you need to set up a warehouse somewhere outside of the city with a cheap electricity. It's kind of the business which you still can run it from home, but doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Well, I should say, I'm just going to tell a little story. We were doing some mining, and we were generating a tiny bit of Bitcoin, and then we looked at how much money we were getting for it, and we said, oh, it's not worth it. And then we turned our miners off, and then the next thing you know, it was 2017, and at the end of the year, we regretted not mining that whole time. So you never know that the crypto you mine today might be worth a fortune tomorrow.
If you can afford to pay for electricity out of your pocket and just keep the Bitcoin like hodling, because if you run a business, so you have your own costs, like electricity costs, that you need to pay continuously. So what they do, they mine Bitcoin, they sell it. Another way, it's called the staking. So the Bitcoin was the first blockchain that uses the proof of work, which requires mining, the solving the cryptographical puzzles. In the proof of stake, you don't need to do the heavy computation. You can run a node on your laptop. There's nothing there. The only thing that is required in the proof of stake are blockchains. You need to have certain amount of coins frozen in your account. Like waves is a proof of stake. You need 1,000 waves to start kind of mining or minting or forging blocks, validating blocks, as they call it. And at the moment, 1,000 waves is $1,600. So it's easy to start, and even if you don't have 1,000 waves, the waves has an option of leasing your coins to a node, and you get paid. So from every transaction fee goes to all the validators. So you don't get 12.5 bitcoins for every block, like in the Bitcoin blockchain. You get very tiny fees, transaction fees for every block. However, you don't have to pay for electricity. And the wave says you can generate about 5% a year from your staking. That's probably, from my experience, that's probably when there's more transactions than at the moment. At the moment, it's about 1%. There are also master nodes in certain blockchains, like in Dash, and for that you also need to stake 1,000 Dash, which is about $70,000 at the moment, and those generate about 7% annually.
Is there a risk there, though?
No, that's all done on the blockchain. No, you control your own coins. You have your private keys. Even in waves, when you lease your coins, they're still inside your wallet, so no one controls them, and you can get them back at any moment. So the staking is pretty safe. Though return on investment is not as big. So another way of getting Bitcoins is if your business starts accepting crypto.
Right. Like we're doing tonight. Our little experiment here at Crypto Bay seems to be working to some extent. Yeah, start accepting crypto at your business.
The only problem with this thing, besides all the technological challenges that you need to...
Like trying to figure out how to print your QR code.
Yeah, like the wallets and the backup phrase, and you educate your clients. Besides all the technological, just from the business point of view, the volatility is pretty bad for the business. So if you are a customer, you don't really want to pay with Bitcoin because the value may go up tomorrow dramatically. So it's not like 2% inflation a year. If you're a business, you have risks if the value of Bitcoin drops, and you need to pay your suppliers, your workers. So that's one of the biggest problems. So you need to convert your Bitcoin to US dollars or like to any stable currency right away.
So this is maybe a good use case for stablecoins to be used as a transactional cryptocurrency.
Exactly. So the recent trend in the last couple of months, there is a bunch of different stablecoins. And as we were talking about the DAI, decentralized stablecoin. If you're a business, that totally makes sense for you to accept stablecoins. It's good for accounting. It's good for there are no risks of volatility. It's the same thing as accepting dollars, only you do it without the middleman. So you cut out the fees, the banking fees, transaction fees, and the payment is near instant. So you don't need to wait for your checks to be mailed and deposited.
But as we were saying last week, it's kind of like we're still used to the idea of our fiat currencies being stable currencies, right? But people who are true crypto enthusiasts for the right reasons, I think, are doing so because they see the risk inherent in fiat currencies. So, and of course, you know, when Bitcoin goes up and down relative to, say, the US dollar, you know, that means the US dollar is as volatile relative to Bitcoin. So it's, you know, I think at some point that may switch and we may start to...
Yeah, the thing is, it's very difficult to set prices in something that's really volatile. So a bottle of Brio is $1. It doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin is. So you can't really set the price of the soda in Bitcoin.
Well, when we move to the Bitcoin standard, as our economist friend wrote his book, then maybe that'll all change.
Yeah, so if the market cap of Bitcoin grows to like $100 trillion, so then probably it's not going to be as volatile, and then we can use it as a unit of account. But right now, Bitcoin is a good store of value, long term.
Well, I'm just saying volatility is relative, so it depends what you're comparing it to.
I'm comparing it to all the goods and services that we get. So yeah, if you accept stable coins, I think that's a good way to use crypto for businesses. Another way of how you can make money is you can set up the over-the-counter trading or exchange, which there are a few in Toronto. We have our friend Lou. She has this over-the-counter trade at Dundas and Spadina. But also there's the website's called localbitcoins.com, where people sell and buy crypto, mostly bitcoins. And if you plan to do so, you also have to consider the volatility. So if you sell or you buy Bitcoin, you have to consider that the price can change. And if you have suppliers, if you buy your Bitcoin on an exchange, just factor in the time that it will take from your cash to go your bank account and into an exchange or somewhere else. That's why, because of the volatility, the fees are quite high on all those exchanges. Normally it's about 10%. Another version of OTC is the ATM, Bitcoin ATM. That there are a bunch of them around Toronto, and the average fee for a transaction buying or selling is about 10%. So it's quite high if you think about it. I don't really know why people would buy and sell Bitcoin unless they really need to stay anonymous or they desperately need the Bitcoin for some drugs or illegal activities. I don't know. So, because the ATMs, if you want to buy Bitcoin at ATMs, it's instant. If you want to buy it with low fees at an exchange, it will take a week or maybe sometimes more to go through all the KYC, to all the verifications, and then to send your money from your bank account to the exchange bank account, which can be frustrating. And the centralized exchanges, they always have risks of being hacked or just sometimes shut down. Sometimes the government decide to shut them down and freeze all the funds in there. I checked a couple of stats about the ATMs. So the interesting thing that only 10% of all the transactions in the ATM is when the people sell crypto. So it's mostly only for people to buy Bitcoin. And if this happens, there's imbalance. So basically people bring cash, and at some point you need to go there and withdraw cash and bring it to your bank account.
You mean the people running the ATM?
Yeah. If you decide to run an ATM. And but then I think if the ATMs should sell the stable coins, the same thing with business. So if they sell stable coins as cryptocurrency, there's no risk of volatility, and that you can reduce the 10% fee to like a normal 1% or even $3 as most bank ATMs do. You take that small transaction fee, that's all. And because you're selling stable coins, I think there will be a lot of businesses or people that will be selling crypto and getting cash back. So there will be a balance between collecting cash and dispensing cash.
I really think it depends on the market, whether they tend to be bringing the cash in or not. I remember when it hit 20,000 last year, I tried to sell some Bitcoin, and they didn't have any cash in that machine. So you know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
but
a little disappointing.
I'm talking about stable coins. If you have the crypto dollars like DAI or Tether or any other dollar, so you you run your business in crypto, which allows you for instant transactions with your customers, especially if it's an overseas transaction. And then you can go to an ATM and you get cash for your crypto dollars. Because otherwise you will need to go to an exchange and you sell your stable coins for Canadian, and then you initiate the withdrawal, which takes another week or two. So, but the ATMs could be a good gateways if they start selling stable coins. So yeah, if anyone is thinking of running an ATM, that's my idea for you. So another way, especially it was popular last year, it's called the ICO, or fundraising, or crowdfunding. Ethereum was particularly popular for running the ICOs. The Waves is the second largest, and the easiest. So you can also think about those crowdfunding campaigns, and they're very similar to loyalty points. So basically the same thing as with that token. It's sort of a loyalty point on one hand, but also people can buy it at a discount and pay with that tokens later on at full price. So when they buy it at a discount up front, that's kind of fundraising, right?
Where do you get that coin at a discount, though?
Have you tried the Waves DEX?
The
Decentralized
the exchange?
exchange?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. The last I looked, it was more valuable than the Canadian dollar.
Yeah, I mean, so this is one of the ways. So if you're a company, you can create the tokens that will represent your future services or goods. And you can sell them up front at a discount and you raise some money.
Yeah, the only thing is that, of course, the regulators have gotten increasingly involved, and
That's an issue.
some of those, they've raised the bar a bit on what you can do, what's the securities commissions, and what's okay with those guys.
Yeah, but last year, most of the ICOs were like complete scams, to be honest. Money grabs and ran away. Another way is the remittances. So that's probably the best application of the blockchain or cryptocurrencies. It's when people try to send some money back home. It's cross-border payments, more or less. So the blockchain cryptocurrencies are best for cross-border payments. It doesn't matter if it's a large amount or a small amount. You can use the Western Union, which may charge you up to 20%, depending on how much you're sending. And Western Union is pretty much instant transactions, comparable to the blockchain. Blockchain is almost instant. If you send Bitcoin, you need to wait for one block. If you're very paranoid, it's 6 blocks, so it's 1 hour. But you'll see the transactions on the blockchain pretty much instantly in the mempool.
So how do you make money with the remittances then?
It's a business model, and there's companies called Abra,
Okay.
ABRA. So
Oh, I see. So somebody can do this foreign transfers, do it with blockchain, do it for cheaper than Western Union.
yeah, basically, if you send Bitcoin home, there should be someone at your home country that will convert your Bitcoin into local currency, unless you're in Venezuela and everyone accepts Bitcoin. But remittances is one of the best application of the blockchain. And I think the stable coins, if you apply stable coins to remittances, so it's easy to convert back and forth.
And of course, for creative people, blockchain as a whole new technology can get people thinking entrepreneurially about all kinds of new projects that they might be able to do. I know you were saying that, really people aren't really using Bitcoin yet, but, people are working hard to address the usability issues and to create whole new businesses on the blockchain. So, I mean, it's, I know it's been maybe a bad year, but it's still exciting times for people in the blockchain space that are, thinking creatively about it.
Yeah, but we've heard a lot about different possible projects in all industries and business, but I haven't seen a single project that's makes sense. Supply chain or anything else.
Are you becoming bearish on crypto?
On ICOs, yeah, on different projects. Like I just don't see what's.
Are you saying blockchain is useless?
Blockchain is useful for money. I think that Bitcoin is the best application.
Okay.
Well, maybe it's just a new infrastructure and we don't really know how to use it or what to use it for.
Yeah.
And we just try to take our old business practices and put it on top of the new infrastructure, and it doesn't work. So as of now, if you have some knowledge in blockchain, you can do the education. Like we have the Block Geeks in Toronto, that company that teaches people how to use blockchain, how to develop on blockchain, or do some sort of consulting for corporates. If you have some programming skills, like our neighbors from Bitcoin Base, you can do some development for blockchain projects. And another interesting industry that you can make money in is the security and custody. So the question is how you can keep your crypto. How you manage your private keys.
This is a job for the banks.
Exactly.
They have a future now.
And how you solve the inheritance problem. So
right.
Who keeps the custody of your keys?
Who knows where your
how to use your
magic phrase is after you pass on?
And there are a couple of companies that solve this problem. The one is called Keys.Casa.
Keys.Casa?
Yeah. And they charge $10,000 per year.
Wow.
Service fee.
And a service fee.
So, well, this is a service fee. So,
okay.
So basically, you'll have a multi-signature wallet with 5 different hardware wallets, and you need 3 of those to make a transaction, and you need to keep them in different locations. So the company keeps 1 out of 5, so you keep 4. So you need 3 of those. So you can technically lose 2, and then the company will provide their. So yeah, this is how hard it is.
Sounds like a spy movie. Sort of.
Yeah. So and just a note in general, there's lots of scams and MLMs, like pyramids in this space. So people want to get rich fast. They're hoping for easy money. The very famous one was like BitConnect last year. Do you remember?
Yeah. Maybe that's why Ralph's not here tonight too.
One, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, they promised a 1% return per day on Bitcoin. So obviously.
Oh, not to mention Gladio Coin.
I haven't even heard of it, but there's a bunch of them. They show up sometimes. Sometimes they're huge. Sometimes they're tiny groups on Telegram where you just send your crypto and they send you back something. Sometimes there's Elon Musk shows up on Twitter and says like that was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you're familiar.
What did he say?
So, like Elon Musk
Yeah.
posted a tweet that I'm doing the giveaway of Bitcoins.
Oh, yeah.
So send a part of your Bitcoin to this address, and I'll send you like 10 times more.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah. So it was up for a couple of hours, and I checked the address. They've collected like a half a Bitcoin.
That's it?
Yeah.
Only a half a Bitcoin. Wow.
Yeah, something like around $2,000.
Yeah, something. I want to talk to Ralph, though.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, so that's about it, guys. If you know how to make
Yeah, maybe somebody
money,
here's got a great reason. We've got the mic. Just put your hand up. You can participate in this conversation.
If you have questions,
Yeah, questions, comments. You're not on camera. Don't worry about that. Misty must have a question. Oh, there we go. Mark.
Sorry. Can you talk about the stablecoin a little bit?
yeah, stable coins are cryptocurrencies that are pegged to a value of any stable asset, usually United States dollar, USD. But also there are coins that are pegged to an ounce of gold or euro. I'm not aware of any Canadian dollar coins. So there are a couple of ways how you can do it. There's normally what company do, they just park cash in their bank account and issue the same amount of stable coins. The first one was Tether by Bitfinex. They launched it in 2015, and it was more or less the only stable coin until this summer. And in August, since August, there's a bunch of different stable coins which are more transparent than Tether. People have trust issues believing that Bitfinex has the cash in a bank account that in the amount that they generate stable coins.
Again, that problem with centralized
Because
body that you need to trust.
if the money is easy to produce, so you'll probably produce more.
Right. Exactly. The same problem that you quoted from the book.
So is that what banks will be doing? I heard that banks will be probably using stable coin as their adapted coin.
I am not aware of the banks that they're planning to do so, but I don't see why central banks won't do that thing. They just keep producing the stable. They don't even need cash. They just printing stable coins.
Well, they want to make money. They need to make money, so crypto's here, so they got to make money somehow.
Well, they need to figure out how to transition into this. If crypto is a new paradigm, they need to, if they want to survive, they need to figure out how to transition into it.
So the difference between crypto stablecoin and US dollars, let's say, that the banks can censor your transactions if you're sending US dollars. Stable coins, they are on the blockchain, and this is censorship resistance. No one can block your transactions. It doesn't matter where you're sending the money. That's the difference, and I'm not sure if central banks will like the idea of not being able to block a transaction.
Yeah, I heard that banks were basically putting a reserve, like what you said, basically a reserve for the stable coin to back basically that coin for them to offer, right?
But there is another stable coin which is called DAI. It's not backed by the dollars. They have Ether as a collateral. So basically, you freeze your Ether in smart contract, and you borrow DAI, and DAI is always equal to $1 based on the market forces. So I talked about it last week.
Yeah.
So that's a very
You can-
interesting project. So
Yeah.
Not a question, but you just mentioned about the blockchain. Obviously, this is new technology. You said there's nothing out there yet, but that's obviously what they're working on right now. There's a company called XYO, right? They're working on geotagging so that when that parcel does come to your door, then through a smart contract, the money's released. So, I mean, we're new in this space, but it's just the beginning. That's why you got a lot of guys working on this. Most of the Fortune 500 companies are now investing in blockchain. So it's like when the internet came out, right? We didn't know the biggest companies today alive are built on the internet. The same thing's going to happen on the blockchain. If you're not on the blockchain, they say in the future, you'll not be in business. Just like the internet. Everyone has to have a website to stay alive. So I know this is a new space, but the blockchain is what's going to change every aspect of human life in the future.
And we had the .com crash, but just because we had that, it didn't mean the internet went away, and it didn't mean that all the big companies emerging in the next 10 years weren't internet-based companies. Yeah, it was just a correction. People were figuring out how to use the new technology.
I'm just saying that, yeah, I've heard a lot of that blockchain is a new technology and it'll be in every aspect of our lives. But as of now, I haven't seen a single project that's makes sense and from the business point of view. Like tracking pork for Walmart on the blockchain doesn't really make sense. The same thing with parcels. DHL does it without the blockchain for a long time, and I don't have any issues with that.
But if the pork contaminated, then it would help on the blockchain. That's why Walmart just went on the blockchain. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but again, we're in a new space. There's a company in China working on for passports, right? So again, everything will be one day. I mean, think of, there's one, they're talking about even for betting in sports, right? We're now...
Betting is a good example, yeah.
Yeah, so there's lots coming. I totally agree. There's nothing yet, but that's why this is where we are right now. Regulation this year, and next year we'll see what happens.
And we haven't even mentioned hedgies.
I'm sold. If
Gaming.
Walmart's on, we're good.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Yes.
So a while ago, you talked a bit about trading, and I think you mentioned some automated methods, and you seemed a bit skeptical. I was wondering, how does that work exactly? Those tools you were mentioning.
The automation?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
like
it-
I mentioned two tools. So one is the bots.
Right. So that's like 100% automated, or like
Yeah. So the bots, basically you set up the rules that at this particular price point you buy, and then when the price changes to a certain percentage or number or whatnot, you sell, and then you set up a stop loss. And I don't really know exactly what the rules are, but the idea of the bot is that there are a set of rules that you come up with, or someone else comes up with for trading strategies. And instead of yourself sitting in front of the computer looking at the charts, and then because emotions are involved, and you'll do like panic sells, which wouldn't make sense. You just dedicate everything to the bot, and the bot starts trading without any emotions, just based on math. This is what automation is, right? Obviously, you need to come up with some sort of strategies. Though these guys, the 3 commas, they have bots running inside of the system, and I'm not sure if they launched it now, but they wanted to have a market for bots, so people would create some trading strategies around bots, and you can basically buy their bots or borrow, or if you use their bots, they would get a percentage of your profit.
Is that up, or you said something you were going to?
I'm not sure about the market, but the platform is out there, and they have bots, and you can see the bots that are performing the best in the last 24 hours, and then you can select the bots that they have, and they will be trading for you. That's the automation part. The company is called 3commas.io. And another one that can give you intel, that's the Orenda Signals. Those guys that scrape internet for sentiment, for what people are talking about different coins, mostly Bitcoin, and that's Twitter, internet, Facebook.
Is that a good method, James?
That's the best method out there. That's yeah. I work with those guys, and that's their know-how. They've been doing this, the sentiment analysis, natural language processing for years now. This year, they switched to crypto, and it worked the best. So they analyze the sentiment, create the sentiment index, and then based on the index, the new index, they generate new index every 10 minutes. They produce the prediction of the price 3 hours ahead, which has around like 70% accuracy.
Well, that's impressive. It sounds impressive.
Guaranteed.
All right, thanks.
Okay, anybody else have any comments or
Any other
questions?
questions?
All right. Okay, then what we'll do is we're going to wrap it up for another Tuesday. Thanks everybody for coming out. You don't have to leave right away. We got our experiment table over there where you can spend your that coins. We've got some snacks, I think, still left over here, and we can hang around and get to know one another, share our knowledge, and just network, find out more about cryptocurrency. So we'll be back. Are we back? We're back next week, right?
next
That's our
week,
last
yeah.
one
Yeah.
before the new year. So we'll hopefully see you all again next Tuesday, 7 o'clock right here at thatchannel.com. Crypto Bay. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next
Thanks for
time.
coming.